Did you know that in 2004, Mark Zuckerberg was worth only $1 million? If you told him back then he'd be worth over $100 billion today, he probably wouldn't have believed you. Yet here we are. So how did Mark Zuckerberg become so rich? Let's find out. Welcome to our channel where we take a look at how the richest people in the world built their fortunes. And while you're here, if you could please like and subscribe, that would be amazing. It really helps us grow. All right, now let's meet Mark Zuckerberg. Mark Zuckerberg was born in Dobbs Ferry, New York on May 1984. His father, Edward, worked as a dentist, and his mother, Karen, was a psychiatrist. While they weren't rich by any means, they were well off and could afford to send Mark to the best schools. When he was young, Mark was extremely bright but socially awkward. This led many of his peers to bully him, so Mark found solace in computer programming. By age 6, he was already building apps just for fun. One time, he created an app that allowed him to control his dad's record player from another room. That was when Mark knew what he wanted to do with his life. He wanted to be a computer programmer. But before he could go into computer programming, he first had to finish high school. In 2002, he attended Harvard University. But college wasn't all fun and games for Mark. Once again, he was bullied, this time by one of his roommates. This is when Mark decided to develop FaceMash, a website that allowed students to rate the hotness of other students. Although it was a big hit amongst the student body, the administration shut it down because it violated privacy policies. Mark was suspended, but he didn't care. He knew he had something special, and that whatever comes next would change his life forever. He started talking to his friend Eduardo Severin about the idea of creating a social networking site exclusively for Harvard students. But soon after, he recruited 2 more members for the team, Dustin Moskovitz and Chris Hughes. Together, the 4 of them spent a few weeks developing the website, and on February 4th, 2004, Facebook was launched. The name wasn't supposed to be Facebook, though. At first, it was called the Facebook. They chose the name because most of their users were college students, and 90% of college students had a Facebook account, so they thought it would be a great name. However, later on, they dropped the because they wanted a shorter, catchier name. So it officially became Facebook. It didn't take long for the site to blow up. Within 3 days of launching, every Harvard student had signed up for the site. The founders were ecstatic. They had proven their concept worked, so they wanted to expand to other universities. But they quickly realized they didn't have enough time to do it themselves. So instead, they offered to sell the company for $3 million. The CEO of Viacom, Sumner Redstone, who owned MTV and Nickelodeon, was interested in buying Facebook. However, he only offered to pay $2 million for the company. Mark rejected his offer because he believed the company was worth more than that. And he was right. In May 2004, Peter Thiel, the founder of PayPal, offered to buy Facebook for $10 million. Again, Mark turned it down because he didn't think it was worth that much. A month later, Mark met up with Sean Parker, the founder of Napster, and he offered to buy the company for $75 million. Mark took it a step further and offered to make Sean a partner in the company. Sean accepted, and together they started expanding Facebook to other universities. But while they were busy expanding the company, there was a dark cloud hanging over him. Mark's former roommate, Deefi and Arendra, along with 2 other former classmates, filed a lawsuit against him for stealing their idea and starting Facebook without them. The trio claimed that they had come up with an idea for a social networking site called Harvard Connection, and had even developed some of it before Mark came along. They said that they asked Mark to help them build the site, but he betrayed them and made Facebook for himself. Mark denied all these allegations, but the case went on for years and cost the company millions in legal fees. Nonetheless, by 2006, Facebook had expanded to 750 colleges and had 10 million active users. Because of this growth, Facebook was chosen as one of the 30 most promising companies of the year and was given the title of fastest growing company. It was also named coolest company by business. And all of this was happening while Mark was still a student at Harvard. But Mark wasn't your typical student. Instead of hitting the books, he was spending all his time growing Facebook. So in 2006, he decided to drop out of school and focus on growing the company full time. After dropping out, Mark hired over 100 employees and spent millions on marketing. This caused Facebook to gain 200,000 new users every day. To keep up with the rapid expansion, Mark moved to Palo Alto, California, where there were more tech companies and a larger talent pool. It was during this time that Facebook came under fire for allowing fake profiles. People would create fake accounts pretending to be real people, which would then allow them to trick people into giving them personal information or even steal their identities. Mark tried to combat this issue by hiring moderators, but it seemed like no matter how many moderators they hired, there were always more fake accounts being created. Eventually, Facebook decided to stop allowing users to use real names on the platform. Instead, they would allow them to create users. This way, it would be harder for scammers to trick people because they could unpretend to be someone they were not. Although Facebook was growing at a rapid pace, it was losing lots of money. In 2007 alone, the company lost $55 million. Mark knew that he needed to make some changes if he wanted the company to survive. So he partnered up with Microsoft and got them to invest $240 million into the company. With this investment, Facebook was finally able to turn a profit. As the Great Recession began, lots of startups failed, but Facebook was not one of them. In fact, during the recession, Facebook grew faster than ever. In 2009, Facebook became the most visited website in the world. During this time, they also launched Facebook Places, which was a location-based feature that would notify your friends whenever you check into a place. It was very similar to Foursquare, except it was far more popular. In fact, in its first month, Facebook Places had 35 million users. However, not everyone was happy about Facebook Places. Many people complained that the feature violated their privacy because businesses could post photos of customers on their Facebook pages without their permission. Mark responded by saying that users would be notified before a photo of them was posted to Facebook. But it didn't do much to calm people down. Soon after, Facebook Places was sued by the Electronic Privacy Information Center for violating privacy laws. In response, Mark made several changes to Facebook Places. For example, users could now delete places they had checked into, and businesses could no longer post photos of customers without their permission. Now that Facebook was a household name, Mark wanted to capitalize on his popularity and launch new products. In 2010, he launched the first version of Instagram for iPhone. However, Instagram was nothing like it is today. Back then, users could only upload square photos. Mark hoped that the limitations would force users to be more creative, but it did just the opposite. Users hated it. They felt restricted by the limitations and wanted the freedom to upload any type of photo they wanted. Luckily, Mark listened to user feedback and made the necessary changes. In April 2012, Mark announced that Instagram would no longer limit users to square photos. From then on, users could upload any aspect ratio they wanted. This update made Instagram far more popular. While Instagram was doing well, another one of Mark's products was failing. In 2011, Mark bought a company called FriendFeed and used it to launch a new product called Timeline. The idea was that Timeline would be a better way for people to organize their posts. However, users felt like Timeline made their profiles look messy instead of organized. Mark tried to make changes to fix this issue, but it was too late. In 2013, Timeline was removed from Facebook. Facebook was now one of the biggest companies in the world, but they hadn't gone through an economic cycle where the economy was growing yet, so no one was sure how well they would do. Then in 2012, the economy started recovering and Facebook thrived. In 2012, Facebook's revenue was $5 billion. But in 2013, their revenue skyrocketed to $77 billion. Because of this, Facebook decided to go public on the stock market. On the first day of trading, Facebook shares rose 18%, giving the company a market cap of $104 billion. This made Mark the third richest person in the world, behind Bill Gates and Warren Buffett. Since then, Facebook has continued to thrive. Today, Facebook is worth over $1 trillion, and Mark Zuckerberg is the sixth richest person in the world. Now that Mark is one of the richest people in the world, he uses his wealth to do good causes, such as fund research for a cure to rare diseases and support organizations that fight for democracy. That's how Mark Zuckerberg became so rich. Did you guys know how Mark Zuckerberg became so rich? Comment below. Also, please don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps us grow. We'll see you next time.